All right, welcome to episode 7 or 8, I believe, of the Demonic Discussions podcast. I am Cameron Pierce, today joined by none other than Emma Weber and Mizzy, all the way out in good old Washington while I'm down here in Atlanta. It's a cold, rainy night, and this episode, sadly, Jake will not be joining us for this episode. However, we have an awesome replacement for his position on this episode. And if you watched last episode, you know him. Jean-Luc O'Connell will be joining us as co-host for this episode of the podcast. So welcome on in, Jean-Luc. If you haven't seen his episode already, it's the latest episode uploaded on the channel. You can go check it out. Really cool dude. Yeah, go check him out. You can also check him out at cravenscurse on all of the social medias and all that. And today on this episode, we have a very, very special person joining us today. Some of you know her from TikTok. Some of you know her from the infamous Statesville haunted prison in Illinois. We have Alex Woday, otherwise known as the Haunted Youth, on TikTok, Instagram, and whatnot. So yeah, welcome to the show, Alex.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
All right, so just a little bit to get to know you. So first off, are you close to the Chicago area? Is that close to where you are?
Yeah, so I'm out, Statesville and Hell's Gate, the two haunts I work at, are both in Crest Hill and Lockport. So that's about like 25 minutes out from the city. So it's not too far.
Oh yeah, I forgot that John is opening. He opened Hell's Gate. I forgot all about that because the main one that I know of that Zombie Army runs is Statesville.
Right. So we run Statesville. We own Hell's Gate.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I know Statesville is very high up there on the rankings. Like, they're up there with us at Netherworld, Midnight Terror. So y'all got it going pretty good over there. But to get to know you a little bit more personal for anyone that has not ever heard of you, which if you haven't, you've been living under a rock for the past couple years, because Alex has just made an absolute headway in the haunted community with different types of characters that she's done throughout the past couple years. So let us know, how many years have you been in the haunt industry so far?
Okay, first of all, you're a liar because that's not true in any of the slightest. I'm just a small.
Well, your follower counts on TikTok and Instagram and whatnot say otherwise. So
No. But
take the compliment. You're a wonderful creator.
No, I don't. That's not me. I don't take compliments. But I've been haunting for 6 years.
Okay. All right. So you've been doing this for a good bit. I'm coming up on I believe my 5th or 6th year. Believe it or not, in this group, Jean-Luc here is actually the baby of the group when it comes to how many years he's been haunting. He's a little baby.
And I'm a haggard elder.
Yeah, Emma is just primordial. She is a primordial. In Netherworld terms, because we go 5th year, you get your elder patch, because we do patches for your different achievements
that's so cool.
and whatnot. Once you reach 5 years with Netherworld, you get your elder patch, and then I believe 10 year you become a primordial. So she would be getting a
cauldron. Let me tell you a story of the before time.
So it's cool knowing that we got a lot of grizzled veterans here. So
we're equals, I believe, Alex.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're on your 6th year because you joined my 5th year.
Okay. So what really attracted you to the haunt industry?
You know what? I don't even, honestly, I don't even know, to be honest. I really obviously I really wanted to do makeup. I've always loved doing makeup and stuff like that. And I've always been drawn towards horror things, even though when I was like 12, I used to be terrified of stuff, but it would highly interest me, if that makes sense. I was so intrigued by it. And I just wanted to do scary SFX makeup. And then I was on Facebook and I came across Statesville auditions. And I was like, oh, This is the haunted house that I've always wanted to go to. This is the one that everybody talks about, the big bag Statesville, where they lock you in a room, blah, 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 all the rumors and shit that I've heard. So I looked it up on YouTube, and then I found Days of the Living Dead, and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I want to do this. So I went to the auditions by myself. I didn't know anybody. And I was just like, well, we're here. Who knows if I'm going to get hired, because I'm absolutely terrified. I don't know anybody here. So let's just hope for the best. That's pretty much it, to be honest. And once I hit auditions, it kind of just steamrolled from there, pretty much.
Okay. All right. And obviously, everyone knows you when it comes to your haunt stuff, obviously, for the wonderful, wonderful character known as Sharkey. I guess you would call her your child, basically, because correct me if I'm wrong, was she your first character that you created?
Technically, yes.
Okay. And that's how I actually learned about you, because I saw you pop up on TikTok as Sharkey.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, this is a cool looking character. And I started following it a little bit deeper. So you've been haunting a good bit. You got tons of characters that you have at your disposal. I'm sorry, I can't talk tonight.
Disposable?
Yeah, they're disposable. But well, I mean, Courtney has Scatterbrain, also known as her trash child. So I guess
Yep.
that really is a disposable.
I feel like they would probably call us disposable.
Yeah, well, technically all of us humans are, but we won't talk about that. So at the helm, ready to pull out, basically at a drop of a hat. Out of your characters that you have, who is your absolute favorite one to play? Because I know the latest one, I believe, was it's either Baby or the Hat Man, I believe.
Actually, Hat Man is newer than Baby. Yeah.
Okay. Which out of your characters would you say is your absolute favorite to portray?
Sharky.
I
always.
And of course, you got Sharkeisha with her, but
yeah, absolutely. You can't have Sharky without Sharkeisha. So.
Oh yeah, and so that's about it for the get to know you section that I have, at least. So we'll go on and get in. We're going to be picking your brain a little bit, because that's what we try to do with all of our guests. We kind of like to see what makes you tick with the haunt stuff.
Okay.
And so obviously you've been around the block a good bit with haunts and whatnot. I know you've traveled down south with the ever glorious, bask in his glory, Mr. Slider, Jesus himself, down to Arx Mortis for the My Bloody Valentine event.
My man,
and
yes. Slider Jesus.
Cody, if you're watching this, and I hope you are, please contact me. I want to get you on the show. We need the Slider Lord's presence on this show. But we're also, you're more, I guess you would say, intertwined with some of the other projects that's within the haunt industry. I know that you made it into the Haunters Against Hate book, I do believe, correct?
Yep, I'm in 2 of them.
Awesome. And that, might I say, people, if you don't know what Haunters Against Hate is, that is a wonderful group that you can check out. Very big on equality for a lot of different stuff, like the LGBT community and stuff like that. You can go check them out. It's an awesome cause, because the haunt community is for everyone. It doesn't matter what you are, who you are. This is for everyone. If you're a good person, this industry's for you. And so how did that come about, being able to join such a wonderful cause like that?
So I think it was before MHC. I think it was Transworld 2 years ago. Yes, it was Transworld 2 years ago. I met Paul at his booth at Haunters Against Hate before it was like a really big thing. And I started I talked to him, had a good chat with him, got a little wristband and stuff like that he was giving out for free and stuff like that. And then I started following him on Facebook, and he posted a big long thing about how he wanted to make a book of haunters, the first book of haunters. And he was like, if you support the cause and if you want to be in the book, send me why, why you want to be a haunter against hate to my email, and then a high-res picture of you, and I'll approve of you to be in the book. So I did just that. And honestly, I really do agree with, obviously, I agree with what it stands for. I'm a big ally in the LGBT community, even though I'm not a part of it. I'm still there for absolutely everybody, because I mean, how could you not be? This community, the haunted house community, is so diverse in that aspect, and I've learned a lot about gender and gender equality and everything just that goes in that aspect just by being in this community. So
yeah, and I mean, I can tell you right now that side of the community is thriving, especially at places like Netherworld and whatnot. Obviously, when you're working such a event like a haunted attraction, you have to be such a close, tight-knit family. If you're not, it's just going to fall right off the rails. And like, I just wanted to bring that up because I mean, I do believe, I don't know if Pongo was in the book. I don't know. I think he was, but I'm not sure.
I think he was. I don't remember though.
I also believe he was. So
yeah, because if he wasn't, that would make you the first person that was in that book and a part of that coalition on the show. And hey, we're making some milestones here. I mean, we've already passed 20 subscribers and soon to be merch store, which details coming soon for anyone listening. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out a little bit, because like I said, that's something that anyone should know about, is that kind of cause, especially in the haunted house community. So, but yeah, so I'm going to open the floor up to my co-hosts, and we will go on and get to rolling with some questions. So I think just because this is his first episode with us as a host, we're going to let good old, I guess, I'm going to use the nickname, we're going to let old Duck Daddy here.
Wow. Wow.
We're going to let Duck Daddy open the floor up for the questions.
no one is ever allowed to know the backstory of that wonderful nickname.
I don't want to find out either, to be honest.
It's actually very wholesome.
It is.
So,
yeah, I got a duck.
right.
No.
Yeah, he has like rubber ducks lining his entire dashboard of his car.
Yeah,
Long story. I learned this out.
I love that you guys said, hold on.
I love that you guys said that you wouldn't explain it, and then you did.
And then you explain it?
And then you explain it.
I didn't.
All right, so Jean-Luc, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, before I start questions, I just want to say that involving that, I was thinking possibly in the future of making a scary duck character, but I don't know how that would work.
It can be done. Trust me. It can be done.
But my first question was kind of already answered, but I just kind of still want to ask it anyways, just because it kind of sounded like not. Are you into horror movies?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If so, what is your favorite horror movie and or slasher, if you have one?
So, okay. Loaded question. Very loaded question. So my favorite horror movie as of right now is Midsommar. I love Midsommar, even though people are like, that it's a really messed up movie. I'm like, yeah.
It was.
I haven't seen it yet. I've been meaning to.
It's amazing.
I've only seen the opening of it. I've only seen the opening of that just due to the fact that the one time that we tried to watch that movie, it was right after we got done working at Netherworld, and it was during Hell Week on top of that.
Oh yeah, no, you can't. No.
I fell asleep within 15 minutes of that movie starting because especially this year, because we had to haunt with the protective masks on underneath everything that we had, including people that were in silicone masks.
Right.
So they had me in this gigantic set of cyborg EVA foam armor from my shins up, because I was in Cyborg Shock the second show, and it was Hell Week. You know how Hell Week is, because I believe y'all call it the same way.
Yes,
up
we
at
do.
Statesville.
Yep.
So you know how it is. You're not doing anything that whole week during the day. Like, you're struggling to get through your day job during Hell Week. And yeah, so I still need to see that.
Also, I'm so sorry for the squeaky in the background. My puppy is
I was gonna say it's the cutest fucking thing.
a psychopath.
Okay.
But to answer
Hazel,
At least people
there's
don't think it's a
one.
duck.
I know.
You got one more on your pass for the episode.
Look,
Oh,
I think that was the best usage of my one F-bomb that I had.
Honestly,
so-
I heckin' agree.
I can agree.
Yeah, so Alex, just as a little
You gosh darn agree.
as a little disclaimer here, Mizzy, sorry. Mizzy's episode of the podcast, she cursed so much because we try to keep this at least PG-13, minimum PG-13. And she was just swearing up a storm. Her episode, if you go and watch the episodes on the channel, her episode is the only one that has a mature language warning at the beginning of it.
Yeah,
Because
you might
we
have to
counted-
put one in here for me too because I swear a lot.
It's all right. It's all right. So
Dang,
just because she's a host now, we have to put at least a 2 harsh curse word limit on her per episode because Jake is the one that has to edit our episodes, and I don't feel like putting him on suicide watch.
Putting a burden on him.
So anyway, Jean-Luc, sorry to interrupt. I just had to point that out.
No, it's
The second part of the question you asked, who's my favorite slasher? He's not technically really a slasher, but
well, he's like any big horror movie villain whatsoever,
Think so.
basically. Yeah.
Billy the Puppet is my absolute favorite.
Oh.
I have the cassette tattooed on my arm.
Ooh,
Oh my
Oh,
god.
that's awesome.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Might I
I'm
say,
obsessed.
speaking of Saw, and I hope all of you get to come down to Netherworld's new location at some point. If you go into the House of Creeps Monster Museum, it's in the Escape Games lobby of Netherworld. We have an actual stand-in Billy puppet that was used on set for Saw on display.
Can I kiss it?
Oh my
Can
god, I would
kiss
die.
him?
I have a photo on my phone, Alex. I will send it to you on
Please send it to
Instagram
me. I
after
would
we get done.
die.
We also have Woody Harrelson's chainsaws from Zombieland on display.
That's awesome.
I need
So
it.
yeah. Again, I'm sorry that I cut in like that, Jean-Luc.
That's fine. My next one is because I know you said you kind of got into it just randomly, but if you have any influence, like any person that you find as an influence in the haunt community, even right now, would that be anyone in particular, or?
Oh yeah. And I'm pretty sure you probably all know if you've been in the haunted house community who I'm gonna say. And it's Fluffy.
Oh, good old Jeff Walker. Yes, sir.
If he ever watches this and he hears me say that, he's gonna be like, ha, you said that. But because me and him are very close, obviously he took me under his wing once I went outside. That's a whole other story. I'm so sorry for my dog. Oh my god.
It's fine.
But yeah, so he really influenced me because once I saw him, I was like, oh my god, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do that. And everybody knows who he is. Like
Oh yeah.
some people don't even know what he looks like underneath his costume, and he'll just walk around and people will be like, oh, hey, you know Fluffy? And they're like actually talking to Jeff, and he's like, yeah. They have no idea who he is. It's awesome. But yeah,
Jeff,
to answer your question.
Jeff Walker for a future episode, maybe.
Please, that'd be a treat.
He'd probably be more than happy to do so.
I would love to get him. I'd love to get John on. I'd love to get a lot of the Zombie Army people on. Yeah, so you can continue on, Jean-Luc.
Okay. What is your favorite reaction from customers whenever you do your scare? I mean, it like not just a scare, but I guess if you're doing anything wacky or anything funny, even what's your overall favorite reaction that a customer does whenever they react overall?
So obviously the best thing is when people actually are afraid of you. Sometimes that doesn't happen because I'm a 5'2" girl, unfortunately, and people tower over me and they're like, you're not scary. And then you have the other people who are like absolutely terrified of short little girls.
Mm-hmm.
The other half is them being scared by the stupidest shit. How can you be afraid of a shark puppet? Please tell me.
Yeah.
Please tell me. Because most of the time, some people like, if my like crutch, if somebody isn't afraid of me because of whatever reason they're not afraid of me as Sharky, I'll pull out the shark puppet, and then that works.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know, but it's
Comment below
so,
if you're afraid of the shark puppet and tell us
It's-
why.
so funny because it's so stupid. It's so stupid, and they think it's scary. Like,
Well,
I
it
don't
works.
Didn't you scare people with a literal Ziploc bag of raw chicken?
yes, I did. Raw chicken? No, it was fried
Pretty
chicken
raw.
in a bag. Actually,
Oh my god.
a customer
This is
gave it to
go-
me. She's like, "Do you want fried chicken?" And I was like, "I don't really like fried chicken, but I'll take it. I'll take whatever they give me."
This just goes to show people you don't have to be large and brutal and intimidating to scare people. You can literally just do the dumbest things and they will scream.
Pretty
Oh
much.
my god. All right. Got any more, Jean-Luc?
Yes, I have 2 more that I wanted to ask.
Okay.
These ones are for cosplaying and not horror related stuff, I guess. But when cosplaying, what is your favorite reaction if you go to cons and such? What is your favorite reaction of others? I guess this could be online as well, of others basically seeing your costume and seeing you in costume. What is your favorite reaction that you usually get?
When cons were a thing pre-COVID, my favorite thing was going to a convention with a bunch of people. Obviously, there's a bunch of big cons here in Chicago. There's C2E2, which is one of the biggest comic conventions. So most of my best reactions are when I'm in classic Harley Quinn with the cowl and everything like that, and little kids come up to you and they think that you're the real deal. That's my absolute favorite thing in the entire world.
I would probably enjoy that. Yeah, I'd love to dress up as Harley Quinn. No.
Sorry, I'm moving positions. Yeah,
All right,
but
Mizzy,
that
you don't make him do that. I swear to God.
That's a promise.
If you don't make him dress up as Harley Quinn and you don't blast it on TikTok and social media and whatnot, I'm going to be very upsetty spaghetti.
Okay, but he would look you would look beautiful in it. Honestly, you would make a beautiful Harley Quinn,
You
John.
do the pigtails now. My hair's long enough.
Yes. Oh my god.
Oh, no.
Oh my god. Can you
Oh.
and Levi do a Harley Quinn cosplay after?
No, they got to do
I know.
Harley and Joker.
Yes.
Oh my god, Levi.
Levi can do Joker. I'm fine
Okay,
with that.
guys, we're getting totally
Sorry.
sidetracked.
And then my last question, though, is what character have you always wanted to cosplay that you have not cosplayed yet?
Ooh. There's a lot actually. I would probably say, I don't know if you're familiar with like any video games or anything like that. So you
Anything?
probably-
I don't know. I'm not a very big video game person, I don't think.
What's a video game?
Yeah, what's a video
I don't know
game?
what that is. I've always wanted to do the Queen of Hearts from Alice Madness Returns.
Ooh.
Alice Madness Returns is also one of my favorite video games. I do have it
Just
tattooed on my
saying.
body as well.
I'm just saying. That would be the
Another
best
one.
thing ever.
Probably. Oh no. Number one would probably be Scarecrow.
Oh,
Or
Yeah.
He's
Yes.
such a scarecrow
you
sim.
should not have said that.
Yes.
But a female Scarecrow from Arkham Knight.
Of course. Yeah, I'm currently actually working on a male version of Scarecrow from Arkham Knight.
Seriously?
Yes.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
I'm waiting for the mini fog machine that will go on my wrist and spew out.
Is it Froggy's Fog? It better be Froggy's Fog.
If you don't use Froggy's Fog, I'm flying over to Washington just to beat you.
I
with a
don't know
sock.
if that'll be
he's
okay
new to
with an
this.
adapter. I got an adapter online. I don't know if it'll work. So I'll ask the person if it'll work and be fine. But
Bro, if you don't get that Slaughterhouse Froggy's Fog juice.
Oh no. No.
If you don't, I'm flying out to Washington to beat you with a sock that has like 50 sticks of butter in it, Paula
Butter
Deen
sock.
style.
Oh,
Exactly 50 sticks.
Yes, if it's a 51, I ain't having it. I ain't about it.
how long?
No
does
more,
sock
no
does
less.
One
that
for
need to be?
each state you are disrespecting.
Yep. All right.
I don't know.
So, Jean-Luc, is that the end of your questions that you got?
Yeah.
All right. So, if anyone else would like to jump in a little bit.
Yeah, I'll go. I guess you kind of already answered this earlier. So, aside from the wonder that is Fluffy, who or what inspires you?
What inspires me? I would honestly say the kids that, it's gonna sound like cocky or anything, but the kids that work at Statesville that are newer and are like, oh my God, like I want to be just like you. I want to be outside. Like, how do you be front of house? I really want to do that. Like, I look up to you. Like, that makes me happy. Like that
I totally relate to that.
that makes me want to work harder for the kids that like just started, because that's how I used to be with everybody that was outside.
Mm-hmm.
So like you kind of like see yourself in them. If that makes sense.
Yeah, sorry, there was a weird pop-up on my computer. I got distracted. Okay, and then what do you do to help yourself get into character? Like, do you listen to music or anything like that? Or is it just something that's you can just pull out of you?
I was gonna say, do you want to know my honest answer? 2 large Dunkin' iced coffees. That's it.
I relate to that. The way I get into Beep Beep is I chug a bang and I
Yep.
go wild.
Because Sharkey is basically just me with makeup on.
I love it.
So
Short and sweet. Okay, my last question is, what's your wildest or your favorite haunt story?
I have 2. One was 2019. If nobody knows, 2020 Statesville and Hell's Gate didn't have a haunt season, so I didn't really get to haunt. I guest acted at Evil Intentions, which is also in Illinois, but only for like a couple of days.
Our haunt was shut down, so
yeah. So 2019, I was scaring a group of teenage boys and like their dads. They went with their dads. I don't know if it was like a football team or something, or I don't know, but one of the kids pulled a Bible out on me. Like an actual Bible, like he pulled it out of his jacket and was
gosh.
So I took it and I ran away with it. And then Kyle got really mad at me. Kyle LaFlamboy, John's brother, who runs Statesville when John's at Hell's Gate, because he like flip-flops every day. So Kyle's like, why did you take the Bible? I was like, what else was I supposed to do? Obviously, you just yeet it and run. So, and then I had to hunt down this Bible that I gave to Fluffy. Obviously, Fluffy's going to take that somewhere. I have no idea where he's going to put it. So, there's that. And then my second story is when I broke my nose. Zombie Army sent me to Australia 2 years ago to work at a carnival haunted house and teach backpackers from like in Australia, people from all around the world, how to be a scare actor. So Australians don't have Halloween. They don't know. They're scared of everything. And when I mean everything, I mean everything. Like they thought like it wasn't any like actual like original characters. It was all slashers like Freddy, Jason, all of the above. So whatever. Story. I was going on my break. I had my costume off and I had my makeup on, but I had my hood up. And I went to go get a foot-long corn dog from the corn dog stand. And I'm walking. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to get my corn dog. And I look up and this lady looks at me and she goes, ah! And she cocks back with her purse and she hits me with her bag. And now I have a broken nose.
Oh my gosh.
And my nose is like gushing blood. I'm like, all right, guess I can't get my corn dog. This hurts. So I went back to the haunted house and I was like, told the boss, I was like, hey, this lady hit me with her purse and broke my nose. And they're like, okay, go back to work. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
pretty wild. I mean, if you want a wild story, that's it. It's like, if you can see it, it's literally broken. So.
Oh my goodness.
The funny thing is what you said about the Australians being scared. First off, can I point out a lot of the guys that come from Australia are gigantic people.
Yeah.
Because there is one guy that works at Netherworld. He was born in Australia, brought to New York as a young kid. His name is Charlie. You better know you know him better as Netherworld's Krampus.
Okay.
This man is at least 6'7", 6'8". He played linebacker for Georgia Tech's football team.
Jeez.
One of the smartest guys. This dude, he plays our Krampus. He carries around on the back of his pants. The bells that he carries around are at least this big around, and he has like 20 of them on his belt.
God, that's crazy.
You can hear him just gently walking. You can hear him walking a mile away almost.
That's crazy.
Because I mean, literally every single time his leg moves, all you hear is da-don, 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 da-don of those bells just clinging. And I looked at him, and one night, it was right after we got done with the beginning of Hell Week. I look at him and go, do you ever just want to rip those bells off and just literally throw them across the room as hard as you could? He said, the first night, yes, and then you drown it out. And then I started talking to him more, and I would have never thought he was from Australia because he does not have that Australian accent. Because he was brought to New York as a young kid, he developed the New Yorker accent. But yeah, we've had a couple people that were Australian that I could tell had that Australian accent or New Zealand accent to them. And they came through Netherworld because I could hear them through the helmet. And I can justify, if you so much as just raise your arm at them, literally just going like that at them, and you're in a scary costume and they're in a haunted house, they will run or fall. Take your pick as to what you're going to get with them. So yeah, Emma, you can continue on, or was that your last one?
Oh yeah, that was my last question.
Okay. All right, so I got just a couple questions. This is where we're going to get a little bit more in-depth with stuff, where we're really going to pick your brain about your different scare tactics and whatnot. Specifically questions that I've been asked by the host to keep in multiple times. So I'm going to do it because I don't want to be held hostage, because I don't want to do that. So when it comes to your psychology of the scare, when it comes to how you approach things when you're going into a scare situation with customers, how do you approach it, and what exactly is your psychology going into a scare?
Ooh. Hold on. Repeat the question again.
Okay.
Brain no think.
It's all good. So with your scare psychology, when it comes to how you look at the psychology behind what you're about to do to these innocent customers that just paid their hard-earned money to come see y'all, what is your psychology behind the scare?
So, you mean like how do I approach them?
Yeah. So what is your mindset, and what is it that you run through when you're going into the scare?
So, especially if you're a front of house character, you kind of have to be ready for absolutely everything and anything. So I've learned. And you have to read, you have to know how to read people, because if you don't, it's not going to be good for you or the person you're trying to scare. So whenever I'm approaching somebody or anybody, I make sure that they look like they're having a good time. If they're not having a good time, I'll try to entertain them, whereas instead of scaring them, because I mean, John always tells all of us, you can't scare them, try to entertain them, make them laugh. Don't make them cry, make them laugh, just keep them happy. I mean, sometimes when I go to a haunted house, I'm not scared. Do people make me laugh inside the house? Absolutely. Do I still have a great ass time? Absolutely. Sometimes it's not always about scaring people, especially if you've ever been to Statesville. The tent outside the front of house is more like a rock show party, like get everybody hyped up, more as like Hell's Gate is more like we're in this tent to scare you. Whereas Statesville, we get everybody hyped up, we have everybody clapping hand, like having dance offs, stuff like that. I'm veering off track. I'm so sorry.
No, you're okay.
But most of the time, if it's like teenage boys or anything like that, I'll try to entertain them. Whereas instead of scare them, because that's just going to backfire on me most of the time. But if you read them and you can see that one of them is scared, you go for that one person. Usually what I do is if it's a group of people and you know that that one person's scared, I'll go and I'll scare them. Then I'll walk away. And then I'll come back in 5 minutes. And then I'll do it again. And then I'll come back. And then the next time I come back, I'll do it to a different person. And then I'll come back. It's just, I don't know how to really to explain it other than that. Some people really, it heightens their experience when you come back to them and do the same thing over again because they think it's funny. They think it's funny. They think it's scary. Like I don't know how else to explain it. It's really hard.
I gotta say, I think if you and I were scaring together, we would be unstoppable. It's the same thing I do. It's perfect. It helps keeps the wound open and fresh, you know?
Pretty, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of the people that I've talked to, and specifically that's the question typically that really can get to a lot of the guests that we've had on here. So like, you know, usually there are some of the guests that we've had so far that they're just automatically into it, and the other ones are like, whoa, because they weren't expecting to go that deep when it comes to how they really look at it. Because I guess us scare actors, we don't really think about it as much because it's more of it's a muscle memory thing where we just do it naturally.
Yep.
And that is actually the first kind of response that we've got to that question, where you're more of that reoccurring nightmare to someone that you know you've got that hook in their back.
Sometimes it's not even. Oh, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Sometimes it's not even scaring them. People. Okay. So here's the thing. Statesville, you're not supposed to touch anybody. But if you know Fluffy, he's gonna touch you.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I went outside front of house. Fluffy comes up to me, goes, "Okay, you can't touch anybody," and then turns around, and then like grabs somebody's face. I'm like, all right, okay. There are some people where you know you can touch them, or they consent to you touching them. So, for example, I'll go up to a customer and I'll take their hat. Like I'll do like a little like so that it's pointed up, but I didn't take their hat, and then they'll fix it, and then I'll come back and I'll do it again. Or my personal favorite, if a teenage boy is being really, really annoying and they're wearing a hoodie, I'll take their hoodie strings, tie them really tight, and tie them to the bungee cord that's next to them. That's basically the line.
Oh, that is beautiful.
And if they undo it, I'll come back and I'll do it again. And they let me.
Pull their hood up and just tighten it, and then have them just go like a mushroom.
Yep,
like
that's exactly what I do. And then you tie it, double knot it to the bungee cord so they can't get out.
Yeah. And you see, that's the thing. To anyone that's watching this that is a non-haunter, that is not in the haunt industry, the two banes of our existence in this industry, number one, drunk / high / intoxicated people, and teenage boys. Those are our two biggest banes of our existence in this business. And I had a run-in with a group of teenage boys in Netherworld this year. I was in the bottomless pit area in my full cyborg armor, and I had this gigantic EVA foam, basically helmet, that was done up to look like a medical technician cyborg, which because I played a Metabot is what it was called. And in that helmet, you have just straight tunnel vision. All you can see is right there. You have to physically turn your body to see. Your only field of view is right there. So these teenage boys, I come through, I dropped one of them because in that spot, I have this big giant air gun that's right there, and I can come blasting through the curtain and I'll pop you with the air gun, and it's just a huge blast of air. I dropped a couple of these boys and they didn't like it because they had their friends behind them, and they just got a little embarrassed because they just fell from getting scared in front of their friends because they were trying to look all tough. One of them actually had his girlfriend with her. So that makes things even worse. And so I'm in there, I'm doing my stuff because it typical Netherworld, there was a conga line. As much as we tried to separate it out, there was a conga line. And sure enough, I'm in there doing my thing, and I turn around, and in the bottomless pit, there's 2 scares. You get one here, run down the hall, hit this one, run back, and you're constantly going like that all night. And so I'm in there, and there's this big giant stairwell. You go up the stairs, and then if you look down, it's like a gigantic bottomless pit, as the name implies. So these boys are up on the stairs. They are letting people go by. They're waiting on me to turn around. So I get done with the final person in the line, and I turn around to go back through my curtain to reset, and all I see is this. I just see, boom! This kid just slammed his hand right into the face of my helmet as hard as he possibly could. And I got pissed. So I had my air gun on the first scare, and then I had a gas can on the second one. And you know, if you're a haunter, you know what I mean by a gas can. It's filled with nuts, bolts, metal bearings, stuff like that to make the loud rattling boom noise when you start shaking it at people. I get so angry at this group. I said, oh, you're not getting away from me that easy. I grabbed my gas can, and I saw them going about halfway over the bridge, over the bottomless pit. I slam the curtain back, and I go charging up the stairs at them. And next thing they see is that gas can coming right towards their face. And of course, I lock my arm up, and I stop it right there at them. But it was enough. They dominoed backwards onto the actual platform that they're on, and I just went ham on them. I was just standing over them, reaching down, because I had a clacker glove on my other hand as well. I was just coming down, popping the clacker glove near them, nearing enough to the point that one of the boys was crying, which a favorite time right there when you get a teenage boy that's just a gigantic jerk to you in the show, and you make him cry. That's your night made right there. We'll just chef's kiss on that. But I was just going absolutely insane. And then once I got back into B hallway trying to reset, I started thinking to myself, my God, I really hate teenage boys in haunted houses. So that's just a little story I had to say, because you started talking about when you get the teenage boys that just want to be jerks. I had to let that out because no one's ever heard that. Aside from the story of, you know, when I was running chainsaw one night this year and a woman decided to rip her weave off of her head and start whipping me with it. But we won't talk about that. That's a story for another time. I'll have to get my I'll have to get my chainsaw brethren, Travis Hodson, because he actually, the woman got scared enough after she started trying to beat him. She dropped it on the ground and left it. This dude picks it up, ties it onto his belt, and carries it home as a war trophy. Yeah, things get crazy at Netherworld. But so my second question to everything is, when it comes, like I said, you have a full arsenal of characters at your disposal, and I said it correctly this time. Awesome points for me. So when it comes to these different characters that you have to play, and I know there are some nights, because you said you work at Statesville and Hell's Gate. I'm guessing that means you're rotating back and back in, through different nights. Like one night you'll be in Statesville, next night you'll be in Hell's Gate. Is that how that kind of works, or no?
No. So, what I say when I mean I work at both, I technically do work at both. Most of the time I'm always at Statesville. I'm a Statesville actor. I'm a Statesville makeup artist. I'm at Statesville most of the time, but for the investor parties or private parties, or some night, like there'll be like some seasons where I'm like, I want to spend a night at Hell's Gate or stuff like that. Like I'll go be there like once a night every season. So like I do the promos there, like all of our commercials and our Days of Living Dead episodes, like stuff like that. That's what I do at Hell's Gate.
Okay, gotcha. So when it comes to playing these different characters, as well as I know you're also known to not just bring Sharky if you go to guest act anywhere. I know this year Sharky kind of had to, take a little vacation just due to everything, and it's hard to do a makeup look, especially when you have to have some form of mask. I know Courtney pulled it off with one of those clear vinyl type masks, but that kind of mask, it's hard because you
Right.
got all the sweat building up. And I know I talked to Cody because he came down here to guest act at Lake Joy Trails of Terror on their Friday the 13th. That was a night I was off at Netherworld, and I decided to go check it out because I wanted to see him. It's the first time I ever got to meet him in person. I'd talked to him for a good while. And he said the number one thing is he wanted to have the teeth, because a lot of the characters, the teeth, I know you're very fond of using the dental distortions with Sharky. The teeth are what makes that kind of character. Because, a lot of people, they have clown makeup and whatnot, but when you add those certain types of teeth, that it brings everything together as one. And obviously the name implies you have shark's teeth. So, with her having to kind of take a little bit of a backseat this year, and I believe you brought out Baby
Yep.
whenever you guest acted. When it comes to playing these different characters, what exactly is your mindset to add these different layers to these characters that you have?
So, it's kind of funny actually. So Sharky is a whole other being. I don't even know where to start with her. She just whatever she says goes. She has a mind of her own. But all of my other characters that I have either A, don't speak, or B, speak in like pterodactyl. Or you have Baby that just says baby. That's it. That's all she says. That's it. That's all she says. So
that's all you really need sometimes is
Yeah.
It just takes that one word to send a customer over the edge.
Yeah. So I try to challenge myself when I make another character to make it completely different than Sharky, because Sharky's my like comfortable character because I played her the most. So playing a character, or at least trying to play a character that doesn't talk, is challenging because your girl Sharky runs her goddamn mouth all night long. So, and most of the time I try to pick and choose things from other places that I've learned, or like lore from like, I don't know if lore is the right word for that, like folklore tales, or like picking and choosing things from like different things from like favorite horror movies, favorite horror games. Like my character for Hell's Gate, her name is Evelyn. I don't know if you've ever played Resident Evil 7. The main villain from Resident Evil 7, her name is Evelyn. So I took that from there. Hatman is actually a old oh my gosh, I cannot talk. An old folklore tale slash kind of creepypasta, kind of real thing that people see this really long, tall man in their sleep paralysis with a hat. So I kind of wanted to bring that to life because I've never really seen anybody do something based off of sleep paralysis, Stephen. Really? And then Baby's a throwaway character, if you want me to be completely honest. I thought of her at like 3 a.m. during Hell Week like 3 years ago, and I was like, this is amazing. But now, because of COVID, I can't really do what I did when I first started playing her. So I would take these little plastic babies that you get in like the Mardi Gras cakes, and I would have my pockets of my nurse outfit that I wear when I'm Baby. I have all of these plastic babies E6000 to the front of my shirt that are all thrown up and bloody. So I would take the babies, the little plastic babies, and I'd go up to a customer and I'd have them open their mouth and I'd shove the babies in their mouth and I'd have them spit it back up. I take the babies and I go out to the next customer and I would shove them in their mouth. And then I'd have them spit it out. And I go on to the next customer.
Need to get edible
my
babies.
God. See, I thought we had heard it all whenever Courtney told us in the last episode that they chewed up piece of gum from a customer that they
that's
pulled out of their
normal.
mouth.
That's normal. At
Oh my
Statesville,
God.
at Statesville, that's normal. The thing is, one of my he doesn't work with us anymore, but if you like look at stock photos on Google Images of Statesville, you see the big red clown that has like the normal, like not the silicone mask, but like the prosthetic of the clown and the teeth. His name is Tubbs. He was a makeup artist too. He used to keep a wad of gum from customers on his makeup station. So he'd take it, he'd chew it, and then he'd put it on the wad of gum and he would keep it on his station as like a prized possession.
As a child of someone in the health profession, I'm crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I love it
God.
because it's so horrific to me that I love it.
Oh,
But
do you think that's bad?
I'm scared.
Would you like me to tell you more? Because I have a lot more.
If you want me to start sobbing, go ahead.
So one of my other makeup artists, we use a lot of silicone on our makeups. So it's like the part A, part B silicone.
Yeah, like the what is it called? I thought I knew the name.
It's called Skin Tight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So after the actors would take it off, she would keep it and she'd put it in this little Ziploc bag. So when she would go out, when the days that she would go out and act, she would take the silicone from her bag, put them in her pocket, and then give it to customers.
Oh my god.
Like the all like gooey, nasty silicone.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Another one of our actors, his character's name is Big Baby. And he eats baby food, spits it up, eats it back up.
Oh God.
Some of our characters like to use cake dye in their mouths to create the really nasty black mouth, red mouth, whatever.
Oh yeah, we use tooth effects and
they'll take their spit and some customers really do be ballsy though, and they'll eat the spit. They'll do it.
No.
They'll do it.
Down to clown.
Yes, they absolutely are. 100%.
It'll be fun to see what happens if you try that post-COVID.
Exactly. Now I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do with all these babies? So now I have 600 babies here.
Wow.
Oh my God.
600 plastic babies.
So okay, just
to do personalized letters to your fans and just put like 100 babies or some shit in each one.
So I'm going to Arx Mortis next weekend to go hang out with Courtney and all of the people that are at Arx Mortis. And I'm going to take about 200 babies and I'm going to hide it in their haunt. Hide every single baby.
That's actually what I did senior year. This like sophomore that I was friends with just got a bunch of babies. So I'm like, hand them over. And I helped them hide them in like the senior classes. So a bunch of people were like, how did one of the sophomores manage to get all of these babies in all of the senior classes? We've never even seen a sophomore. It's like, joke's on you, fool.
So just as a visual description of what just happened to the people watching at home, Alex just picked up 3 small plastic bags full of these like miniature babies.
Like the ones you get in like King's Cakes at Mardi Gras. They're so cute. Your children are beautiful. You must be a proud mother.
Thank you.
On less gross out side of things, I get exactly what you're talking about with Sharkey, how she just runs her mouth to customers, because I was able to bring in a original character of mine called the Heretic to Netherworld for one night this year. He showed up the first night that they put me on Chainsaw at the end of the second show. And right there at Chainsaw Alley in the second show, you're right next to the queue line for the second show where the customers go in. So you see the whole line of people waiting to get into Cyborg Shock. I can mess with them through the fence and they don't even see where I am. because the whole thing is scrim netted out to where you can't see through, but I can see through to you. And I was just running my mouth, just gabbing at people all night long. Like, I remember one dude walked in with an Atlanta Braves baseball jersey on, because this is when the Braves were this close to trying to almost getting to the World Series this past year. And I remember specifically, I put on, they didn't really want us talking or yelling because of COVID, even though we had masks on, they just to make sure. But through that, with how much of a distance I had, and I had my masks on and all that, I felt comfortable enough to do it. I remember specifically yelling out, "Oh, someone's got a Braves jersey on. You're going to be deader in the water. You're going to be choking on your own blood than the Braves already were." I was full on calling out the dude's team, and I hated myself for doing it because the Braves are my team. I kind of felt bad for doing it. But I was just running my mouth. Like, girls would walk in the typical, black and white striped crop tops and their blue jean jackets because, oh, it's fall time. And sure enough, I'd call them out. "So what, you gonna go be an Instagram influencer or something?" And I'd start calling them out, and I would just roast them through the net, and they would have no idea where it's coming from. I had a couple people get ballsy enough to come slam up against the fence, and I just fire the chainsaw up and just stick the bar right through the fence, like a little gap. They would see, because we have one of those foam bars that it makes it look like it has the actual chain still on it. They would see it just come running through with the thing blaring as hard as I could pull the trigger on it, and they would just take off just as fast as they could, just take off. But yeah, so that's all I have questions wise. So we're going to get into the actual discussion side of things now.
Well, Hazel never got to do her question.
Oh yeah, oh my god, I am so sorry.
I was just waiting to see if you'd notice.
I am so sorry. I've been running 1,000 miles per hour today. So I completely forgot, and I don't see you on my screen. You're on the other screen, so I am so sorry. Continue on.
That's okay. All right. So thankfully I don't have too many questions. So I guess I wanted to ask you first, and let's just start off with cosplay. Well, actually, no. Never mind. We're going to start with haunt stuff. So I personally, when I first saw Sharkey, because I hadn't seen Sharkey before, I fell in love and I wanted to know more. So I wanted to know, like, what's the story behind Sharkey and like the creation of Sharkey? Because I'm invested.
So it's kind of a long story. So my first year of Statesville, I didn't have a character. I was under 18. I was 17. So you have to be 18 to be outside, and everybody wants to be outside, whatever. So I was kind of just in the maniac ward of our haunt, and I would just I didn't really have a character. That's what I would do. I would just be in this little cage and swing from the cage, and it's super fun, la-di-da-dia. And the last night, they asked me where I wanted to be, and I said I wanted to be a clown. So years back, the clown room was like the best of the best. Like, you had to be the best actor to be in the clown room. And I was like so excited. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be a clown. Woo! I was so happy. And then my second year, I started on the makeup team. And they were like, okay, you're on makeup, so you're gonna be the last to get into costume and makeup. So that means that whatever position that we have not filled, that's where you're going to go. I was like, all right, whatever, that's cool. So the first few nights I don't even know. I was like Spider Queen. I was a blood girl. I don't even remember. I was back in the clown room. Like, I was everywhere. And then I think the second weekend, I go downstairs to be placed after, like, I finished doing people's makeup, and I'm like, where do you want me to go? And they're like, we're gonna put you outside. And I was like, huh? What? I have no idea how to act outside. I have no idea what they do outside. I have no idea what's going on. And they're like, okay, go outside. I was like, okay. So I put on this costume and I go outside and I'm like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. So I basically had to learn by myself how to do everything. And they kept putting me outside. So I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to be outside, I want to be a clown. So I put on the clown outfit, which is just like a straight jacket and like baseball pants kind of that are in the red checkered. That's how a Statesville clown is. Like, personally, I hate clowns. I hate normal clowns. But if it's a Statesville clown, I'm like, all right, we in this bitch. I love how Statesville clowns look, how they're all uniform. They're all in the same straight jacket with the red and white checkers. It's so cool. If you haven't looked at it, you should go look at it because it's like all of them are uniform, but all not uniform at the same time. So I started making this character as this clown and I had the teeth in and I was like, oh, I look so cool, whatever. So I go up to the guy up at the front because people keep asking me my name. They're like, what's your name? What's your name? And I'm like, I don't know. So I kept just like thinking up stupid names. And then I went up to the guy who was working the door at the front facade. And I was like, what should my like character name be? He's like, well, you look like a shark with those teeth. So Sharky. And I was like, that's really stupid. Okay. So I started calling myself that when people would ask me. And it kind of just stuck at that point. So then she started to become like steamroll into this entire character. And then I finally made my own costume and started doing my own signature makeup. And that's pretty much it.
I love it. All right. And would you say that she has any like kind of a backstory or anything?
Oh, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay. That's like my question kind of had two questions in one, so it's fine.
So it's kind of stupid, and I hate being like, oh, this is what, blah, blah, blah. So, basically, the whole backstory of Statesville was that it was a correctional prison for people, where basically what the quote unquote is where evil is sent to die. So if you're really, really bad, you're going to Statesville. You're not going to Mon Pa's prison, whatever. So basically death penalty or worse, you go to Statesville. Then all of the prisoners started a riot and overthrew the people who ran the prison. And now it's run by all of the convicts. That's basically too long. Didn't read of the backstory of Statesville. So Sharky's mom was a nurse before the riot happened. And she was a nurse to this doctor who was kind of a little loony because he was kind of whatever. Also known as now the clown doctor. So he wanted to do all these experiments where he would make the mental maniac ward people happy again and smiling. You get it. So basically he would take the mental patients and turn them into clowns, and he needed a test subject. And the nurse was like super in love with the doctor. And she's like, oh my God, take my kid. So it was like, bring your kid to work day. And the little girl's like, okay, woohoo. Sits her in the chair, turns her into a clown and gives her all these sharp teeth. And the nurse is like, after she's done like torturing the hell out of Sharky, she's like, oh my God, like you look like she was like mortified, like absolutely terrified, like, oh my God, like you look like a shark. And end of story, basically, Sharky kills her mom by biting off her arm, and her mom bleeds out, and that's it.
Bone apple teeth.
Yep.
I love it.
Bone ate the
Yeah,
teeth.
that's all I can think of was
Bone
apple
skin
teeth.
the beef.
Give her a little
Bone-skin
toothpick.
beef.
Here you go.
Mhm.
Okay, I love that. That's great. So, and this goes into, let me see. Oh, okay. So you have a puppet sometimes. Okay.
Several, yes.
And yes, the shark puppet.
Sharkeisha. Yep.
Yeah. So I would say kind of like, what kind of methods do you use to incorporate the puppet into your scares?
So like I said before, if they're not afraid, I'll use the shark puppet or I'll use the mini chainsaw that I have. I always have, oh, you know what? It's over there. You can't see it. It's in the corner.
I do see it, yes.
I see it right there on the shelf.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that is in Sharky's hand at all times. So it's either chainsaw in one hand and shark puppet in the other. Or just chainsaw, mini chainsaw. So if they're not afraid of me, it's either one or two things. You're getting one of them. I don't know. You're either getting the mini chainsaw or you're getting the shark puppet. So I'll just take the shark puppet and I'll just go and I'll put it in their face and they freak out. That's it. That's pretty much it. And then I'll go away and then I'll come back. I'll do it again. And then I'll go away and I'll come back and do it again. It's dumb. It's really dumb. But people think it's the funniest thing. So it's just an entertainment thing. It's not really meant to be scary, but some people do think it's scary for some reason. I don't know. Yeah. Some people really have a phobia of sharks, but apparently shark puppets trigger their phobia. I don't know.
If it works and it scares people, it's not dumb.
Yeah.
I think honestly what it is people know that, when us haunters, when we get face to face with you, when we're like just a couple inches away from your face, they know we're pretty much capped out there. Obviously, we're not about to just full-blown headbutt them like we're John Wick. They know that. But when they see us reaching towards their face and our fingers are just a couple inches away from their face, they're like, oh crap, this guy or this girl is dedicated to touch. They're about to touch me. Oh crap, I need to get back. And that's why when they see something, especially like Sharkeisha, that's a puppet that's on your hand, they see that coming towards them, and it's like, okay.
It's sort of the same psychology behind horror movies. Like, with horror movies, you're like, oh, well, I'm at home, I'm safe. You can snuggle up underneath a blanket and be like, nothing's going to harm me, nothing's going to touch me. But when you're with these actors in person and they're actually threatening of like touching you, then you'll realize like, oh, I can't just like get out of this. Like, I don't have control over this situation. I can't press pause on this scary situation. So I think it kind of plays into that, and I love that. And especially, I never see actors using like props the way that you do. So it's really exciting, and it's new and refreshing. And so obviously they're going to be like, holy crap, there's something in my face. And I don't know, especially if it's like really sudden or they're not really expecting it, or there's just a lot going on that they have to focus on when you shove it in their face. They're like, okay, whoa, what the frick?
Yeah, and I feel like it's something that's just like, to them, they're like, this is so silly. What is she gonna do? She's going to do so. What are you going to do with this thing? Because this is a thing that's not supposed to be intimidating.
Well, it reminds me of Angel's trash can kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have, I'm on a slider team up here, and our head slider, he does this thing where he'll just stand by a trash can just nonchalantly, and then he'll just shove it at you and just make this wacky noise. And that's awesome. The most effective things. And it's like, awesome. You see him standing there, he's being nonchalant, like he'll be whistling. Like, it's very obvious that he sees you plotting. And then he just scoots it at you.
That's awesome.
Just FYI, there's a video of him doing the scary trash can on Northwest Possessed Instagram.
Oh yeah,
I'm definitely gonna look at that.
Yeah,
it's another thing. I'll send it to you if you really want to see it.
One time he made me crawl into it, and I think we tried to scare someone, but it just didn't really work out. But it was funny as hell, so it's like whatever.
I love it.
Yeah, and the funniest part about the video when Angel does the scary trash can, you can see Emma and their other slider, Maddie. You can literally, Maddie goes, "Oh my god!" right at the beginning.
Oh my god!
He walks
right in front of the camera, and she's just like, "Oh my god!"
because he'll just grab it and just go, scary trash can, and just shove it at you.
It's just funny because when he's not in character as Rash, he's very calm and he's very chill. But when he gets into Rash, it's like a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
And it's just like, oh my god, of course oh my god.
Scary trash can.
Why is it I feel like we just gave a Sharky?
Yeah, you just gave me an idea.
You're welcome.
Far away.
If you can get it on video, send it to her and she'll
If
send
you
it to
can,
Angel.
yeah. Oh, that'd be so
It would be
cute
a
if we
treat.
made it like a haunt
would
thing to just
cry.
use a trash can.
Angel would
Trash
cry.
can.
I
But
feel like we'll
yeah.
probably end up having a lot of catastrophes involving trash cans though. If someone like accidentally pushes it and then just knocks it over, and then there's just trash everywhere.
Oh,
That'll add
that
to
means
the
I'll make them pick it up.
ambience.
Well,
yeah.
this is the thing is
Take it
when
up
it
and
comes
be
to
spooky about it.
no, y'all don't understand. Okay, so Daniel Grayston, also known as Moose at Netherworld, he plays our gigantic Sasquatch. He's in a full body Sasquatch suit. Dude looks like he's a death metal rocker. Long hair, long beard, wears a Cannibal Holocaust metal battle vest every day with a bullet belt on his waist. And he's walking around as Sasquatch, and he'll literally rip the lid off the trash can like a Sasquatch would, like he's trying to find food. He'll start rummaging through the trash and just throw it all over the midway. He'll literally pick the trash can up and he'll crawl inside the trash can as the Sasquatch.
I love
And
that.
His costume probably stinks.
and all you hear while he's rummaging through is just,
Oh,
That's awesome.
it's like an actual animal.
yes.
It's like the living. He's like the grown-up version of that Muppets animal.
And the funniest thing is
Yes.
when you look at Moose, you think, holy crap, this dude looks like he's about to like sacrifice a family to our Lord and Savior Cthulhu. But the moment you talk to him, he's like, oh, what's up, dude? Like he has like a full-on like California surfer type, the way that he talks to
Shaka
you.
bra.
Yeah, literally, I'm gonna talk when we get done recording this episode. I'm gonna message Moose and ask him if we can get him on because he is an absolute treat to be with. So you got anything else?
Yes.
Nikki?
So makeup wise, what makeup do you prefer to use that lasts you through the night?
Endura. Always.
Endura. I've never
Always,
heard about
always.
Yeah, I've never heard about
body
Endura.
art. Really?
that. Endura. Yeah, I've
European
never.
body art. I've heard of them.
What do
Endura
you-
alcohol-based makeup art.
We use
Yes.
Pro Air and Skin Illustrator.
Okay, Skin Illustrator. Pro Air would never last any of our actors. Our actors sweat.
I've never had a
It's
problem with Pro Air except for one night it was raining, and this is when I was doing Zombie, and me and the makeup artist were experimenting with this setting spray, and so we went out in the rain, and this is PG. It was very white and creamy on my face.
Oh no.
It didn't.
Oh no.
It looked a certain way that I'm not gonna say on here.
No.
But that's the only
Um,
problem
If
I've
you
ever
know,
had.
you know.
Aside from that, I've never really had a problem with it like sweating off.
Yeah,
For us,
I wore it to a con, and I had like sprayed my arms and my legs and my face, and it lasted like the whole day. I was very impressed.
And
So
this is not me bashing. Please don't come at me. But we have used iHeart Effects airbrushing, and that's the only one I've ever really had a problem with. It
Yeah.
just
Sometimes
it
it doesn't work.
on my
Sometimes
skin
it does.
well.
Yeah.
And I think it's just my skin. So I'm not bashing you guys. You guys are still great and you make good stuff. Please don't be mad at me. I doubt you're listening, but just on the off chance.
What were you holding up right there, Alex?
So this is what it looks like.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
Endura, so it's alcohol based. That's the only alcohol based paint that we use. We do have Skin Illustrator palettes, and then we also have actually they're Endura. They're European body art palettes, and then we also use Wolf cake paints. I do have
Wait,
Pro
do you
Air.
just have what is hanging from your thing?
Oh, it's 0.
I love that. Sorry,
That
my
is so
ADHD.
cute. I did see the ear earlier and I was like, what is that?
Yeah,
It's
same.
0. Yeah.
I do think Netherworld, I think we use Endura. I don't know. That's a question for when we can get Roy Woolley on the show.
Does it smell like grape?
No, it smells like straight alcohol.
I
Funny
love
story,
it when they're scented.
they
Pro Air
did
smells like grapes.
Pro
they
Air
did
smells like apples to me. No,
Apples
the
are
white
Pro
base,
Air smells like haunt season to me.
Yeah.
it does. To
I
me,
remember they did
the
they
white base
did-
Pro Air smells like apples, and then the ones that have a red or brown base, they smell like cinnamon.
I thought you were just about to say something.
yeah, I just
smell
know,
like a booty.
Yeah.
No, it
I
smells
just-
good, and sometimes I open my bottle of Pro Air and just inhale it because
Yep.
I miss haunting so much and I want it back.
So I've only used Pro Air like for myself personally. Like people have used it on me when I've guest acted at places, but when I have it here, like I have it on my desk right now. And the only problem that I have with it, the color payoff's awesome, all that fun stuff, is that it separates so bad. No matter how much I shake the container, it's just separated. I'm like, what the heck? Why are you like this? Why?
Yeah, I know for a fact that the airbrush makeup that Netherworld uses is alcohol. The reason I know it, I learned it the hard way because they were doing my eye black one time, and my eye somewhat cracked open a little bit.
Yeah, you're most likely using Endura.
While they were spraying, sure enough, immediately my left eye is just like, you've chosen death, buddy.
You
And
died.
I'm sitting there, my fists, my fingers are full on going like that, just clenching in because of how badly my eye was burning. So I learned the hard way. Yep, we use alcohol, and
I believe it.
Like I said, hopefully I can find out officially if I'm able to get Roy on the show. I'm sure he uses like the top quality stuff since the dude was on Face Off.
It's got to be Endura then.
Yeah. But we'll for sure see if we can get Roy on the show. I know Emma wants to have Roy on here to have a chat with him.
So let's move on to the next question because I have two more and I promise they'll be quick. Hopefully.
No, don't worry, take your time. Hey, the good thing is this session we don't have a time limit apparently.
Now we know. Okay. So what was your first introduction to like cosplay and conventions?
The haunt industry,
Yeah?
to be quite honest. Yeah. I've always wanted because I was a little weeb when I was in 6th grade, but I was a closet weeb. I didn't want anybody to know that I liked anime and all that stuff. Like it was not cool. Now it's cool, apparently. But I loved Hatsune Miku. I loved Sailor Moon. I loved what's it called? Like Portal. All of like the just Japanese culture in general. But I never got into cosplay because my parents thought it was a waste of money. So when I started haunting, there were a lot of people at Statesville that cosplayed. And I became friends with them on Facebook. And I was like, wow, like I've always wanted to do this. Maybe I should just buy my own like Harley Quinn cosplay.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. It was really, really, really ugly. It was really bad. Like really
The first
bad.
cosplay is always like, oh man.
Oh my god, my first cosplay was Starfire from Teen Titans.
You want to hear I have the cringiest one and I will outdo all of you. You want to know what my first
Please.
cosplay was?
What?
It was Homestuck.
Oh no.
It was Nepeta Lejean, the freaking cat girl. With
I
the
felt it in my heart.
The crusty ass like Halloween store makeup that I got, eyeliner because I didn't know how to do makeup. I didn't even have a wig. I used like this really old Halloween store wig that was really ratted and gross, and this hat that I made out of like a shirt that I had that I never wore, and it was so bad.
So I was a weeb, but I was never a Homestuck. So I can say that. I still am the biggest anime person now. Like I
If
love
anyone
anime.
takes
Hatsune
if anyone
Miku?
takes a look,
Dude,
if anyone
Hatsune
takes a
Miku,
look at your
I have like
TikTok,
30
I know.
figures of Hatsune Miku.
She's
I
actually
hope
my
you
dream
see them.
cosplay, I think, because she was kind of my introduction into all of that.
Me too.
Yeah, so like because my friend showed me her, and then that just led into like Soul Eater and Black Butler, and that was my first, and so then that got me into cosplay, and then I'm like, oh, I can cosplay anything. I have to cosplay anime. So yeah, but that's pretty cool. Okay, and last question, I guess, like, so you kind of already answered this actually, but like, where did you start with your cosplay journey? Like, besides from just Harley Quinn, like what fandoms kind of struck that, like, oh my gosh, this is like, they were the stepping stones into like where you are now?
Overwatch. Overwatch
Okay.
was a really big one. Obviously Batman, because I've done 3 versions of Harley now. I'm a really big Harley fan. I love her. Cringe, but you know what, whatever.
Not cringe. Anyone who thinks it's cringe can go beep 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 censor.
Yeah.
But
she's having to save that one.
no,
more
I'm all
on her
done. I'm all
first
done.
best.
I don't know if you picked it up, but I've done 3 actually. I don't know if you ever heard it though. So.
I haven't heard it, so I'm resetting it. You have one more.
Oh, thank you.
So
Generous.
I mean,
I'm
feel like
gonna
this
give
one
this
is
one
just
to
gonna
Alex
need
in case Alex just wants to use it.
I'm just gonna say, I think there should be like
Just at
a
the
time
end,
limit.
we just all yell the F word.
I think there should be like
Yeah.
a time limit for everyone, like one cuss word every 30 minutes of the podcast, something like that.
Hatsune
Goody.
Miku, Danganronpa. Danganronpa's a big one. And My Hero. Did I say My Hero Academia?
No, you haven't.
Yeah, My Hero Academia too.
Who do you cosplay from that?
I cosplay Toga.
I knew it. I freaking knew it.
Everybody cosplays Toga.
I mean,
Froppy's my favorite though.
She's really cute. Those two are actually, I think, the reasons why I started the show. And then I just really want to cosplay Toga so bad.
Oh,
and
I also
Dobby.
have a female Dobby too.
I feel like we're the same person, different fonts. I love it. All right. Yeah.
Anyone that even slightly knows about you, Alex, will know you're a gigantic fan of My Hero Academia. Just look at your TikTok. You'll know.
True.
Because, believe it or not, as far as I know, there's more My Hero Academia cosplay stuff than there is Sharky content on your TikTok.
Well, you see, Sharky takes a while for me to get into.
True.
That means
is that all
the
airbrush that you do with her
I have
makeup?
to put the contacts in, and then I have to put the airbrush on, and then I have to put my entire costume on. Then I have to put the teeth in, like, and then I have to put my hair up. I can't even put my hair up anymore because my hair's too short. It's just a lot, and I'm lazy, so.
I felt that. I can.
Oh, Jesus.
All right. Well, I'm all done with my questions.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions just came to mind? Anything? Going once.
Oh, actually, hold on, I lied. Because I told you I would
How
ask you
dare
this.
you.
How are your dogs?
Right now, Lilo is sitting in my pile of laundry.
The comfiest spot.
As they should.
Yeah, right. She's staring at me right now with her big eyes. She's a 8-month-old mini Australian Shepherd.
Was that the one that you just had on the screen earlier?
Yes. Yeah,
That's the kind of dog I want.
that's Lilo.
That's
We
the
will
kind
one
of
day.
ones that are a border collie.
She's a baby. She's a big baby.
I had Nazi growing up. She was one of the best dogs I've ever had.
And then I also have a Siberian Husky named Noodle.
Noodle.
Yeah, she's not in here right now though.
That
What
is
a
so cute.
I
love both
love
of your
how
dogs. I don't know them, but I love them.
I love
I
how
love
we
them.
have we have a perfect balance here. So most all of us in here are talking about horror, haunt stuff like that, and then Mizzy here. I swear to God, I gotta
It's
get
fine.
that.
It literally doesn't
Huh?
matter anymore.
It's too late.
Then Mizzy here is just so wholesome.
How are
Like,
you?
I saw
Hey,
like a picture or something on one of Alex's platforms of their animals, and I'm like, I'm gonna ask about that.
I think it was Instagram.
I think so too.
Yeah, she makes the dumbest faces, and she also looks like a Muppet. So
Perfection.
she's just a little shit, and I love her to death. I also love Noodle, but Noodle isn't that crazy anymore compared to Lilo. So.
All right. So
you wanted to move into something else, right? Discussion?
Yeah, we're not going to stay on it too long because I believe this episode's already almost
it's
2
honestly
hours, which
very long.
you're actually going to break the barrier because most of our episodes typically cap at about 57 minutes. You're actually going to break the time barrier that we've had. So, Jake, if you're Jake, I know you're going to watch this in post. I am so sorry, man. Please do not kill me next time you see me in person.
Do it.
Excuse me, but
Do it.
yeah. So we're only going to discuss one main topic, just to kind of keep it short, so we can go on and wrap this thing up. But when it comes to everything with the haunt industry, what are some things? And this is actually going to be something that all of us will get to answer. All of us, including our guest. When it comes to the haunt industry, what innovations within the industry do you want to see happen here in the very near future? And anyone can chime in. And
Innovations? My brain is too small to understand what you are asking me.
No thoughts.
Only the people from Washington will understand this.
No thoughts of behind these eyes. What?
Or actually, only the people from our hunt will understand this. No more CO2 guns.
Okay, Mr. Cryo Gun.
I'll say,
And
I guess, a thing. I don't want to get too deep because I'll start ranting about bigger things I want out of the industry. Claustrophobia tunnels. Even before the pandemic, they upset me because people rub their nasty faces and they open their mouths and the nasty spit gets all over it. And then I rub my face all over your spit. And just get rid of them. They're annoying.
Yeah, I believe we've had this rant from...
I've literally stabbed someone in the butt accidentally because I was trying to zoom through the tunnel with my hands like out in front of me like this.
Oh no, that's like full on Naruto. Like,
yeah, I did the whole pachoo in the butt.
Forgot.
So I want to get rid of claustrophobia tunnels.
Let me guess, when you did that, the Violation by Flesh God Apocalypse started playing.
Actually,
you just went,
what started playing was
you know what? I feel like I want to see more
Careless Whispers. I forgot the name.
I love
of it.
how Emma is just so proud about just going knuckle deep on someone in a claustrophobia.
Oh no, I was elbow deep.
Oh no!
Oh
all right. Anyways,
TMI.
Gonna roll out of that for a second.
We still call each other sometimes.
Late night lonely sessions.
I want to see. I honestly really want to see more like, I don't know, like trippy blacklight stuff.
Oh, yes.
Oh my god, yes.
I feel like there's ways you can incorporate it into just like things outside of the clown.
I was going to say that is the first thing that I ever saw from our haunt. Or not first thing, but like the first time I've seen that in a haunted house.
Yeah, but our beginning of our clown house is really cool because we had a local artist come in and he painted it, and it's almost like an Alice in Wonderland-esque in the beginning. Like you walk through a giant clown face into the mouth, and then there's like mushrooms and these trees, and it's physically three-dimensional. So like if you touch it, it like raises out and stuff, and it has the black light. And then you have to walk through this panel that's like a cutout of this big mushroom. And then you enter the clown area, and it would be cool if more scenes would delve in on things like that.
But I would also love to see more like traditional circus clown aesthetics rather than like kind of a mixture of just random like costumes being dirtied up, or like Candy Floss isn't a traditional clown. I'd love to see a horrifying twist to more traditional clowns, because for some reason the aesthetic of that is just so like
perfect example of that, I would say, is Alloy from Courtney.
Yep.
That is a very big vintage. You can also check out the Svenpus characters. I know they're not really clowns. We were so this year for Netherworld with Halloween Nightmares here. You can actually see. I know the people at home can't see, but these were 3 of the different characters. Our trick or treaters. Their costumes were made for us by Sven Puss because they come into Netherworld to guest act with us a lot. They didn't come in this year, sadly.
They're actually from Chicago, too.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay. But, yeah, like, with me, I would say kind of playing off of what Mizzy said, where I want to see more variety with stuff. I want to see twists with characters that you don't see coming. So, perfect example, and this is something that completely blew my mind because back in, I believe, 2017, it was Netherworld's final year at their old location in Norcross. The 2 shows you had was Primal Scream and Mr. Grendel's Fun House of Horrors in 3D. So, what they did with Mr. Grendel, I thought, oh God, okay, here we go. Just another clown house, so, you know, a simple fix for a solution of where you're going to throw a house. And then I learned a little bit more about it by talking with the people that were there and the ones that wrote the stories for that show. So Mr. Grendel's Funhouse, they're not exactly clowns. They're actually ogres that disguise themselves as clowns to lure people in so they have their food.
Oh,
So
Grendel. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
as you
remember
would go further into the show, the clown makeup starts fading away and you get more of the creature ogres in their fake circus that they would have pulled you in. And funny enough, that's around the time part 1 of the reboot of It released. So funny enough, that's how that happened. And Mr. Grendel's still a character that runs around. Hopefully he'll be making a return this year. He had to play a little bit of a back seat to this year at Netherworld, but hopefully we'll get him back. And just examples of that, just taking your classic stuff like that, like a clown character, and putting that twist on it that you don't expect coming from it. Or like, you know, with your doctors, for example, if you can take that doctor and you can turn that dial a little bit and you make it where it's not your normal doctor. Yeah, Karn, for example. Shameless plug. But, you know, or, you know, for example, you know, I would say mad scientists, doctors, clowns. I just want to see people bring more into these characters to make them not just your standard, oh, well, I'm the perfect thing that John LaFlamboy says is, you know, Michael Myers looks a lot different if he starts coming at you just screaming wildly like he's running down to the nightclub on Saturday night. I saw that on an episode of Days of the Dead, so don't copyright me, John. But you know, just adding those different things because, yeah, it might be different from a Michael Myers if he were doing that. But what's to say you can't throw that twist on it and it actually scares someone through it? Just adding more layers and putting more twists on different classic characters like that. And I'm also with you on that as well. On I want to see more of the vintage style of clowns coming back because let's face it, already the haunt industry is so oversaturated with clowns right now. Mainly a lot of the Facebook live vaping clown boos. And yes, I did just use Haunt Hub terminology, sue me. But
what's wrong
yeah,
with the vaping clown?
So I actually, speaking of variety with that kind of stuff, I did want to bring our haunt because I haven't been a Q actor yet. I don't know if I've said that.
You better be this
that.
season.
But I thought I had to think of a character, and I wanted to be a werewolf. But I'm only 6'1". I know that's tall to most people. But
only 6'1". Okay.
Hang on. I have a friend. I don't want to drop his name. Cosmic Ash Studios. I could talk to him maybe because we've been talking about doing a stilt monster for the Q.
Well, that's the thing is Sawyer has these kind of stilts that I've been looking at possibly buying that look like actual like animal back, like hind legs.
I think I know what you're talking about.
They're called digigrade stilts.
Yep.
I saw
And-
Trent in them forever ago when he was there.
And I thought that would be although it'd be extremely simple and it'd just be a giant werewolf, it would be something that is completely different that not a lot of people do and that I don't often see. I do see a lot of those, creepy, weird, big turtle-looking
Just
monsters on
around.
stilts. And those are terrifying. I love those, but it's like, I want to see a werewolf, man.
A werewolf
Yeah.
would be really cool to have around. What'd she say?
Oh yeah.
I think she said werewolf creature. So I was like,
It'd be
Yeah,
something
and-
at least different from a clown or
yeah.
anything like that. I've never really
Yeah.
seen anybody really do a werewolf character, which would be really cool.
And
And that's what our queue is mainly made of. So
Yeah,
And,
like
Oh, really?
on
again,
the Slider team, there's 3 of us and we're clowns. And then we'll
Hey.
have
there's 2 other clowns.
Well,
There's
here's
one
the
with
difference
scissors
with
and one
my
with big...
clown versus
sometimes
everyone
Mizzy
else's
is
clown.
Candy Floss, sometimes you're Mizzy though. And then
Yeah.
we'll have Trixie or Abby on nights where our houses are full. She'll be able to come out in the queue, and then we'll have a couple of like Asylum-esque and like Sawyer does his Cthulhu sometimes, and we have Krampus, which we should get Krampus on here.
I've already said
Ooh.
that to Mizzy, and
Okay.
We're already
We-
discussing it.
we're going to be
About
talking
to
to
say, he
Seattle
would
Krampus
be-
to see if we can get him in.
A treat to have on.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I got to give a little bit more credit to the Netherworld people because I have found out that we're actually getting a lot of my fellow Netherspawn watching these episodes. So shout out to my Netherspawn family if you're watching. What's up? Let me know you're here down in the comments, please. I appreciate it. Our stilt walkers that we have at Netherworld, the Guardians of the Netherworld, as they're called. They are these gigantic, like, nature petrified wood creatures. They stand on
Love that.
custom stilts that bring them up to at least 10 to 15 foot tall.
That's crazy.
These guys, literally, I'm standing in Chainsaw Alley at the end of the second show this year. Chainsaw Alley has a little bit of a hill like that. It's got a little bit of a slope to it. Anyone from the midway that's going in for a break has to go through Chainsaw Alley and up that little hill to get to your break area. These guys walk on those stilts on that incline all the way through these tight little crevices to get to their break. And they stay on those stilts all night from open to close. Those stilts do not come off of their legs until we're closed. And I got to give them so much credit because I've asked them before, how do you do it up there? And they just said, honest, we don't know.
How's the weather?
Motivation. Remember, you can't spell art without pain, but the pain is silent. That's my
True.
quote.
Yeah.
I live by it.
And-
I scream. I have yelled it in the makeup room before. Like when I'm taking a break from sliding and I'm just in pain, I yell that and then I just get up and I go back to dying.
Oh, yeah.
I love
But-
it.
Haunt culture is going up, being starved and thirsty, and laying on the ground and finding the utmost peace in it,
Yes.
just for like 10 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
It's like you live for that high you get while acting, but you also live for that moment when you get that moment to yourself.
Yeah.
And you can take in like, I really just did all of that and I have to go back and do that. Oh my gosh. Am I really doing this?
Oh,
You see,
it's hard.
yeah.
It's hard inside of Netherworld because we're inside of a big, gigantic warehouse, and inside of the shows, like this year, I was told this year was the coolest inside the shows that it's been ever since they moved. Typically, on a night inside the shows, it stays about 100 to 102 inside the warehouse every single time we're working in there.
I'm happy that
And-
mostly I'm outdoors, and then even on nights when it is cold, we have like, I guess like a garage, I would describe the queue area, and then we have little lamps that are like, they're heat lamps, so I can, if I'm cold, I can like go inside, but I'm seldom cold because I'm running around and flinging my entire body weight at everybody.
You
Yeah.
can go to the heat lamps.
I do go to the
They
heat
have
lamp.
they have the heat lamps in like the bar area. I
Yeah.
couldn't for a while.
Yes.
So
But now
does
they
anyone
don't
else?
care because they're like, she's not gonna trick the bartenders into filling her water bottle. I don't actually do that now, people. If you're listening, I don't do that. No.
So does anyone else have any thoughts or anything they want to see innovated in the haunt industry in the next couple of years? Anything?
Me.
Yep.
So this is a thing that I have never seen at any other haunt besides my own, which is Statesville and Hell's Gate. I think you guys have it, but flyer positions.
Yes.
Yeah. Flyer
We
positions
have.
are
I would
so cool.
love to do that.
And then-
Cameron was showing me videos of some of the Netherworld flyers, and oh my gosh, that looks so terrifying, but so fun.
In my 6 years of haunting, I've always wanted to be a flyer, and I've never done it. Because we have a couple in the haunt, but Hell's Gate only has 4, and Statesville has 6.
Yeah. So at Netherworld, we have our city flyer, which is our big zip line. He'll actually Hazard, awesome human being. Short dude, but amazing human being, and an awesome actor. He is the guy that's mostly on the zip line every night. This dude is at least probably like 4'11", 5 foot maybe, but he's dressed as this gigantic gargoyle or bat. Like this year, he was a big humanoid bat creature because it was Halloween Nightmares. That was part of the storyline. And when you come out of the vortex and you're going down into the city of Weisberg, he would take off from his platform and just fly right over your head.
Yep.
And
that's
then
what the
we
twin
have,
does at Hell's Gate.
Yeah, and then we have our big bungee, our little bungee. They had this, and we're hoping and praying that they bring the witch flyer back. That was a fun one to see.
We also have a bungee. We have a bungee.
I've only been at Netherworld for 1 season now. I'm going on my 2nd because I've decided I ain't going nowhere else but Netherworld. That is my place now. But from what I've seen from Witch Flyer, because you're laid straight out with your hands on a bar holding you back. When you let go, you're hooked up to basically a giant swing, and it swings you out. You can plant your feet right on the edge of the wall, and you're standing this way while the customers are coming underneath you.
That's really cool.
And then you can just jump and put your legs straight, and you'll go right back into the position to reset. They took that out this year. We don't know why, but we are hoping and praying that they bring that position back.
Yeah,
we have one position too, we used to at least, where an actor would actually be able to walk down the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the crawler position. Any of my Nether Spawn family, if you watch, and let me know in the comments if I'm right or wrong. They would actually begin crawling on the walls sideways like Spider-Man, basically, while you're walking through the corridor.
Yep.
And it's effects like that I love in this whole thing. So, but yeah. So does anyone else have anything at all?
Sheree.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that just about does it for this episode. Once again, thank you so much, Alex, for being willing to come in and hang out with us and be able to just, talk shop with us. This is really what we try to do on the podcast. Just let us have a place where we can come together and just hang out and talk, and talk shop about what we love to do, and that is haunting. If you got any social medias or anything, you can go on and plug that now.
Well, thank you for having me, because this is really cool. I haven't seen a lot of haunter podcasts. I know I've been on one, which is Courtney's boyfriend. He actually does a podcast as well, and I did that with him at Arts Mortis. I don't remember what it's called though, unfortunately. It's escaping my brain. But my TikTok and Instagram is The Haunted Youth. And then my Twitch and my Twitter are both The Sharky Tank. And my page on Facebook is The Sharky Tank, even though I don't post on it because I'm lazy. But you can go and like that if you want to.
I totally felt that.
So.
All right. And for all my hosts, you can go on and plug your social medias. I'll start real quick. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at The Killing Machine Sarge. I should pop up. I don't post too much on Instagram. I'm mostly on my stories mostly. I'm trying to get into posting more TikTok stuff. I'm posting a lot of stupid things on TikTok, but I enjoy making it. So go give me a follow over there. And if you're not subscribed to this channel already, be sure to drop a subscribe on the channel and hit the bell notification so that way you can be notified when we upload another episode. And yeah, so that's mine. All my other hosts.
Mine is Mad Mischief, which my most recent content is Stormfront from The Boys. You've seen it before. And that would be my TikTok and my Instagram. And everything else that you want to find is on my Beacons link in my bio.
And this is Emma. You can find me on Twitter and Facebook under Seattle Zombie, and you can find me under Instagram under undeaderma, which I'm working on transferring everything under undeaderma.
My TikTok and Instagram are just cravenscurse.
Because you're cursed.
I am cursed.
All right. So before we go, I have to announce our special guest for the next episode. So coming from my home of Netherworld Haunted House, the twisted, sadistic Dr. Sadek himself, Mr. Dylan Gregory, will be joining us for the next show. He is an amazing human being, an awesome actor. He plays what we like to call our Robo Daddy or Robo Father. Also works at a pizza place. Anytime I order a salad from there or anything, he makes sure he throws in the cyborg nuts and bolts in there and all that for me. A little side joke. But yeah, so Dylan Gregory will be here on the next episode, so be sure to tune in for that. And yeah, so once again, thank you, Alex, for joining us for this episode. And for the Demonic Discussions podcast, we will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you.